I did not come to frighten you. I came to wake you. Because what has been released does not sit in a vault of gold or numbers alone. It sits in alignment, in timing, in authority that has already been signed and sealed in the unseen. Heaven does not announce these things loudly. Heaven whispers first, to see who is listening. You felt it before you understood it. A sudden seriousness settling over your spirit. A sense that something enormous is standing just behind the veil of your ordinary day. That was not imagination. That was notification. What has been released in your name is not waiting for permission from the world. It is waiting for recognition from you. You keep thinking you must become worthy before you open it. That is the lie that delays destiny. Worthiness was settled the moment you were chosen. What is required now is response. You have been praying for provision, but what you are being asked for is position. Money follows position. Influence follows obedience. Increase follows courage. The release came first because heaven moves by trust, not proof. You were trusted with access before you were confident enough to believe it. That is why this moment feels heavy. It is not pressure, it is responsibility. What has been released in your name carries weight. It carries reach. It carries the ability to shift not only your life, but the lives connected to your obedience. And that is why delay feels tempting. Delay lets you pretend nothing is changing. But everything is already in motion. You wonder why doors are appearing that you did not knock on. Why conversations are surfacing that make you uncomfortable. Why old structures in your life feel too small now. It is because expansion has been authorized, and small containers cannot hold large assignments. The release did not come because you were loud. It came because you were faithful when no one was watching. It came because you endured seasons where nothing made sense and you did not harden your heart. It came because you chose integrity over shortcuts, even when shortcuts were offered to you disguised as opportunity. You think heaven did not notice those moments. Heaven wrote them down. But hear me carefully now, because this is where many chosen ones stumble. Release does not mean possession. Access does not mean activation. What has been released in your name must be opened. An opening requires agreement. Agreement with responsibility. Agreement with change. Agreement with becoming visible when you were comfortable hidden. This is why part of you wants to hesitate. Not because you doubt God, but because you know, once you open it, you cannot pretend you did not see it. Ignorance feels safer than accountability. But safety was never your calling. If you do not open what has been released, it does not stay frozen forever. It is reallocated by time. Not because God is cruel, but because purpose moves forward. Heaven does not pause the future indefinitely. This is what lose it all truly means. Not punishment. Not loss of love. But loss of timing. There are seasons when grace makes things easy. When support appears quickly. When provision flows naturally. Miss that window, and the same assignment requires 10 times the effort. You were given a window of favor. That is why this moment feels urgent. You keep waiting for certainty, but certainty is not how faith works. Faith works by recognition. You recognize the voice because you have heard it before, guiding you, correcting you, protecting you. That same voice is calling you now, saying, open it. Open your mouth when you would rather stay silent. Open your hands when you would rather hold tight. Open your schedule, your plans, your identity. What has been released cannot enter a closed posture. You think opening it means you must know everything. It does not. It means you must be willing to be led. There will be days you feel unqualified. That will not disqualify you. There will be days you feel afraid. That will not stop heaven from moving through you. What will stop it is refusal disguised as patience. Do not confuse waiting on God with God waiting on you. He has already moved. You are standing at the threshold now, not because you forced your way here, but because obedience brought you this far even when you did not realize you were obeying. Beloved one, hear my voice echoing through the corridors of your spirit, for I am the messenger sent from the throne of grace, an angel dispatched to whisper truths that the heavens have ordained for you. The release in your name carries provision, yes, but also exposure. It is a divine decree, inscribed in the ledgers of eternity, where your name has been etched with golden ink, signifying a bounty that awaits your claim. This provision is not mere scraps from the table of fate, it is a lavish outpouring, tailored to the contours of your destiny. Imagine rivers of abundance flowing toward you, waters that quench the parched lands of your dreams, nourishing seeds long buried in the soil of your heart. Yet, with this flow comes the unveiling of your soul to the world. People will see you, not as the hidden figure you have sometimes preferred to be, but as the radiant bearer of light that you truly are. In this visibility, there lies a vulnerability, a stripping away of the veils that have shielded you from judgment and envy. Some will gaze upon you with eyes clouded by their own shadows, misunderstanding the essence of your journey. They may whisper accusations, born from their unmet longings, or project their fears onto the canvas of your success. Others will drink deeply from the wells of wisdom and inspiration you offer, drawing life from your overflow, yet never pause to utter a word of gratitude. Their silence may sting like thorns in a garden of roses, but remember, child of the Most High, this is part of the cost, a sacred toll exacted not to punish, but to refine. In the grand tapestry of creation, where stars are woven into the night sky by the hand of the Creator, every blessing bears its weight. What you gain will outweigh what you lose, for the losses are but illusions, ephemeral attachments that were never destined to accompany you into the dawn of your next season. Think of the caterpillar, encased in its cocoon, shedding the form that wants to find it. The wings it gains are not burdened by the husk left behind, they propel it into flight, into realms it could scarcely imagine. So too with you. The misunderstandings, the ingratitude, these are husks, remnants of a smaller existence. They fade as you ascend, replaced by the vast horizons of purpose and fulfillment. You are being asked to step into stewardship, not consumption. Stewardship is the noble art of guardianship, where you hold the treasures of heaven not as a hoarder clutches gold, but as a faithful servant tends a vineyard. It means nurturing the increase, multiplying it for the kingdom's sake, rather than devouring it in fleeting pleasures. To handle increase without letting it handle you requires a heart anchored in humility, a spirit attuned to the divine rhythm. False humility, that insidious whisper that bids you shrink from your inheritance, is a thief in disguise. It masquerades as piety, urging you to deny the gifts laid at your feet, but in truth, it robs you of the glory meant to reflect back to the giver. Heaven is not offended by your abundance. Oh, how the celestial realms rejoice when a soul embraces the fullness ordained for it. The angels sing choruses of joy, their harps resonating with the harmony of provision fulfilled. But heaven is offended by fear that refuses to trust what God has already approved. Fear is the ancient adversary, a shadow that creeps into the corners of faith, whispering doubts where certainty should reign. It questions the architect's blueprint, suggesting that perhaps the foundation is flawed, that the walls will crumble under the weight of blessing. Yet, the Eternal One has scrutinized your path, has weighed your heart in the balances of justice, and declared it worthy. Trust, then, in this divine endorsement. Open it now does not mean rush blindly into the unknown, a reckless leap off a precipice without regard for the winds below. No, it is an invitation to cease resisting the next step you already know you are supposed to take. Deep within the sanctum of your being, that step resonates like a bell tolling in a quiet cathedral. You know it, as surely as the sun knows its course across the sky. That conversation you keep postponing, it is no mere exchange of words, but a bridge to reconciliation, to alliance, to doors that swing wide on hinges of vulnerability. Perhaps it is with a loved one, words of forgiveness hanging unspoken, or with a mentor whose guidance you crave but fear to seek. Each delay adds rust to the lock, making the turning more arduous. That decision you keep praying about, even though the answer has already been given in the quiet whispers of dawn or the thunder of conviction during sleepless nights, it beckons you forward. Prayer is communion, not evasion. It aligns your will with the divine, but when clarity dawns, lingering in supplication becomes a cloak for hesitation. That inner nudge you keep overriding with logic, that gentle prod from the Spirit, is the compass needle pointing true north. Logic, while a gift from the mind's forge, can become a chain when it binds the soul's intuition. The world teaches you to measure every step with rulers of reason, to calculate risks in ledgers of loss and gain, but the kingdom operates on the currency of faith, where leaps are rewarded with landings on solid ground. Those are the locks, intricate mechanisms forged in the fires of doubt and procrastination. And obedience is the key, a master key crafted in the heavenly smithy, fitting every bolt with precision. Obedience is not drudgery, it is liberation, the act that springs the trap and sets the captive free. Once you turn that key, once you open the door with a resolute hand, momentum will follow. Not instantly perfect, for perfection is the realm of the divine alone, but undeniably forward, like a river carving its path through stone, gathering speed as it descends. You will feel supported in ways you cannot explain, as if invisible hands uphold you, as if the winds of providence fill your sails. Provision will appear where there was none, manifesting in unexpected allies, in resources that materialize at the 11th hour, in opportunities that bloom like flowers in a desert after rain. Strength will rise when you thought you had none left, surging from reservoirs deep within, fueled by the inexhaustible source of the Almighty. It is the mystery of grace, where weakness becomes the canvas for power's masterpiece, and you will look back, in the quiet moments of reflection, and realize, the hardest part was opening your heart, not carrying the blessing. The heart, that tender fortress, guards its gates with vigilance born of past wounds. To open it requires courage, a willingness to expose the raw edges to the light. Yet, once breached, it becomes a conduit for rivers of living water, flowing out to bless and receiving in return. Carrying the blessing, then, is not a burden but a privilege, a dance with destiny where each step lightens the load. But if you choose to ignore this moment, life will continue. The sun will rise and set, seasons will cycle in their eternal wheel, and you will survive. Survival is the baseline, the minimum script written for those who tread water in the ocean of existence. You will manage, piecing together fragments of what could have been, constructing a shelter from the storms rather than commanding them to cease. And somewhere deep inside, in the chambers where dreams whisper their secrets, you will always sense there was more. It will be a quiet ache, a phantom limb of potential, reminding you of paths not taken, of horizons unexplored. That is the true loss, not the forfeiture of material wealth, but the dimming of the soul's light, the quieting of the inner song that was meant to resound through eternity. You were not chosen to wonder, what if, to linger in the twilight of speculation, replaying scenarios in the theater of your mind. No, you were selected from before the foundations of the world, marked with the seal of purpose, to act. Action is the spark that ignites transformation, the hammer that shapes the anvil of fate. So do not shrink now, in this pivotal hour, when the stars align in your favor and the heavens lean in to witness your choice. Do not spiritualize delay, cloaking inaction in robes of religiosity, claiming divine timing as an excuse for human timidity. The timing is now, etched in the annals of providence. Do not wait for permission that has already been granted, signed in the blood of the Lamb, affirmed by the resurrection's triumph. Billions have been released in your name, not just in currency, those fleeting symbols of earthly exchange, but in capacity, the expansion of your inner vessel to hold greater depths, in reach, the extension of your influence to touch lives across oceans and generations, in authority to build, to construct edifices of hope and justice, to restore, mending the broken places in hearts and communities, and to lead, guiding others into the light you have embraced. This release is a torrent, a cascade from the storehouses of heaven, reserved for those who dare to receive. Open it now, not because you are fearless, fear may tremble in your veins like leaves in the wind, but because you trust the one who released it. Trust is the bridge over the chasm of uncertainty, the anchor in the storm. The one who spoke the universes into being, who numbers the hairs on your head and charts the sparrow's flight, has deemed you ready. He who flung stars into the void and breathed life into dust will not falter in upholding you. I have spoken what needed to be spoken, my words a bridge from the eternal to the temporal, a clarion call to awaken the slumbering giant within. The door is in front of you, shimmering with the sheen of possibility, its handle warm from the touch of divine invitation. What you do next decides whether this moment becomes a turning point, a pivot where trajectories shift, where legacies are birthed, or a memory, a faded echo in the halls of regret. Choose wisely, for the eyes of heaven are upon you, and the chorus of angels awaits your symphony. Let me linger a moment longer, for the weight of this message deserves expansion, that you might fully grasp its depths. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast canyon at dawn, the first rays of light piercing the shadows, revealing not just the ground beneath your feet but the endless expanse stretching toward horizons you never dreamed possible. This is the provision set before you, a divine endowment, multifaceted like a jewel catching light from every angle, refracting promises into colors of abundance you can almost taste. In your name, resources have been allocated, not as a fleeting windfall but as a living stream, flowing from the heart of the Eternal One who knows your every need before you whisper it. Financial provision arrives first, perhaps as unexpected income, a promotion whispered in boardroom prayers, or doors swinging open to ventures that multiply seed into harvest. But oh, it stretches further, relational treasures, friends who emerge like pillars in a storm, steadying you when winds howl and doubts rage. Intellectual sparks ignite, ideas blooming in the quiet hours, innovations that solve riddles others deem unsolvable. And spiritually, revelations cascade, illuminating dark corners of the soul where fear once nested, replacing chains with wings of worship. Yet, with this glittering provision comes exposure, as inevitable as day follows night, as breath follows the pull of life. To receive such bounty is to step into the light, fully seen, fully known, not just by the Father who crafted you, but by a world peering through its own fractured lenses. People, bound by their scars and stories, may squint at your ascent and call it arrogance, your boldness a reckless folly. They stand in the ripple of your obedience, the book you pen stirs souls from slumber, the business you launch employs the weary and wandering, the ministry you lead men's shattered hearts, and yet, they may withhold thanks, taking for granted the divine flow coursing through your veins. Picture the widow's mite multiplied, loaves and fishes feeding thousands, while some chew without a nod to the miracle worker. This ingratitude? It's no indictment of your worth, it's the raw frailty of humanity, a mirror reflecting our own forgetfulness. It teaches the sacred art of detachment, giving without clutching expectations, echoing the Father's generosity that reigns on just and unjust alike. Release the need for applause, let your heart beat to heaven's rhythm alone. The cost of this path, though it stings like salt in a fresh wound, pales beside the gain that awaits. What you lose, those suffocating comfort zones, the familiar shadows of mediocrity, the limiting beliefs whispering not enough, was never yours to drag into eternity. They are encumbrances, weights the Apostle Paul urged us to cast aside in the race marked out for us, eyes fixed on the author and perfecter of faith. Shed them, and you step lighter into the next season, freer than an eagle breaking dawn clouds, equipped for heights unattained by the timid. Stewardship beckons you upward, where mindless consumption is forsaken for holy cultivation. Consume the blessing like morning dew on parched lips, and it evaporates, leaving only echoes of what could have been. But steward it, nurture it with open hands, and it multiplies, feeding multitudes as it did on Galilean hillsides. Handle the increase wisely, letting it flow through you like rivers of living water, lest it pool in your grasp and harden into stone idols. False humility slithers in, hissing unworthiness, bidding you refuse the gift. True humility, however, bows low to receive with gratitude, then rises to wield it all for the glory of the King. Heaven itself delights in your abundance, for every overflowing cup testifies to the provider's unshakable faithfulness. To fear is to offend, accusing the faithful one of caprice or shortfall, as if his promises were parchment crumbling in the wind. Trust, on the other hand, approves what heaven has sanctioned, stepping boldly into the blueprint etched in eternity. This opening before you is deliberate, not hasty, a cosmic alignment with the known step ordained from the foundation of the world. That postponed conversation lingers like a thorn in your side, perhaps it's confronting a past hurt that festers, forging a partnership destined to birth kingdoms. Delay breeds regret's bitter fruit, action, swift and obedient, births freedom's song. The overprayed decision weighs heavy, circled in endless petitions, yet answers dawn in peace that surpasses understanding, a quiet knowing deeper than words. Cease the circling, advance with the confidence of one armored in grace. The nudged intuition tugs at your spirit, logic serves as a faithful servant, but the spirit leads as sovereign king. Override it no more, yield, and watch pathways unfold like scrolls in prophetic hands. These locks, hesitation's cold iron bars, bind your potential, obedience is the golden key that shatters them. Once turned, momentum surges like a river breaking a dam, imperfect yet gloriously progressive. Support manifests mysteriously, doors creak open in forgotten corridors, paths clear amid tangled thorns. Provision emerges from seeming voids, strength surges from the brink of exhaustion. But the heart's opening proves hardest, vulnerability's trembling threshold, where pride fractures and authenticity reigns. Beyond it lies ease and blessing's warm embrace, a rest deeper than slumber, where weariness bows to wonder. Ignore this call, and survival ensues, a mere management of days, not the mastery of destiny. The inner sense of more haunts like a half-remembered dream, the true loss of untapped potential echoing through eternity. You are chosen for action, not idle speculation, shrink not back into shadows, delay not with spiritualized excuses. Permission was granted eons ago, sealed in the blood of the Lamb. Envision your capacity, billions in scope, not mere currency but the infinite currency of influence, vision's boundless reach, compassion's global tide, purpose's unyielding authority. Dream larger than mountains, endure deeper than oceans, impact realms untouched by human hands. Build empires of light amid ruins, restore broken cities, lead legions into promised lands. Open now, trusting the releaser who holds your every breath. The door awaits your hand. Turn it and transform memory into milestone, whisper into thunder. To deepen this revelation, let us explore the essence of provision further, peeling back its layers like petals of an eternal rose. It is not random largesse flung from afar, it is personalized, drawn from the infinite treasury where your needs, seen, named, anticipated, await release. Before your first cry pierced the air, the Father tallied every tear, every trial, every triumph, apportioning resources tailored to your unique blueprint. Financial streams may swell unexpectedly, a contract signed in faith, investments bearing fruit overnight, but relational provision binds souls in covenant, friends rising as Aaron and her to hold high your arms in battle. Intellectual gifts unfold as divine downloads, solutions to riddles that plagued sleepless nights, creativity surging like Pentecost fire. Spiritually, it's the bread of heaven breaking chains, revelations parting veils to unveil glory hitherto concealed. Exposure, while laying bare your flaws like sunlight on dust motes, also amplifies your virtues, drawing allies who behold your true light amid the glare. Misunderstandings, sharp as flint, forge resilience in your spirit, teaching empathy for others stumbling through their own shadowed valleys. You've walked their roads, now grace flows bidirectional. Ingratitude from beneficiaries. It reminds that ultimate reward cascades from above, not the fickle praise of earth. Like manna in the wilderness, it sustained without fanfare, yet it was enough, for the giver's smile outshines any ovation. Gains eclipse losses, for what seems lost is but transition, not termination, a refining fire burning away dross to reveal gold. Comfort zones crumble like Jericho's walls, ushering in conquest, shadows flee, unveiling destiny's stage, limiting beliefs dissolve in truth's solvent. Stewardship cultivates legacy across generations, while consumption devours in momentary feasts, leaving hollow echoes. Handle increase with wisdom's rains, tithe first fruits, invest in souls, sow into barren fields. False humility rejects the portion, cloaking pride in piety, true humility receives with tears of thanks, stewards with fire in the belly. Heaven celebrates your abundance with choirs unseen, rebuking fear as slander against the immutable. Trust honors divine approval, a resounding yes etched in stars. Open deliberately now, resisting no more, align heart, will, feet to the rhythm of release. That known step pulses with purpose, the conversation heals ancient divides, mending what time tore asunder, the decision propels like an arrow loosed, piercing veils of uncertainty, the nudge guides through fog, spirit's compass unerring. Locks of hesitation rust in indecision, the key of obedience gleams eternal. Momentum builds inexorably, forward thrust, supported by unseen hosts, provision from heavenly storehouses, strengthened by the arm that upholds worlds. The heart's opening, from vulnerability's quake to victory's anthem, is the pinnacle, where divine embrace dissolves all fear. Ignore at peril, survival scrapes by, managing scraps while destiny starves. The gnawing sense of lack. Its potential unrealized, a symphony silenced. Chosen to act boldly, not ponder passively. Shrink not into smallness, delay not with pious procrastination, wait not for perfect winds, the spirit is your gale. Billions, currency to fund revivals, capacity for visions spanning continents, reach touching the forgotten, authority to decree restoration. Open, trusting the releaser's nail-scarred hands. The door, your chosen turning point, hinge of history. Feel the urgency now, love infused like balm on wounds, the message complete, yet its echoes resound through marrow and spirit. Step forward, beloved, into the fullness. Let this not be mere words on a page or a script for a screen, but a spark igniting revolution in your soul. Envision the harvest, souls saved through your story, chains broken by your testimony, kingdoms advanced by your yes. The Father watches, heart ablaze with anticipation. Will you turn the knob? The threshold gleams, provision piled high, exposure's light beckoning. Detach from detractors, steward with abandon. Momentum awaits your motion. Press deeper, provision's facets multiply in obedience's forge. Financial floods irrigate dry dreams, relations become iron sharpening iron, intellect births blueprints for glory, spirit soars on eagle's wings. Exposure. Its promotion's prelude, virtues magnetizing the right, flaws humbled into testimonies. Ingratitude. Schooling for eternity's perspective, rewards eternal, not ephemeral. Losses. Illusions shattered for reality's embrace. Stewardship. Legacies loom, weaving threads into tapestries eternal. Heaven's joy. A foretaste of wedding feast abundance. Trust the approved path. That step, converse to reconcile, decide to pioneer, heed to pioneer realms anew. Obey, surge open wide. Heart's gate flung, victory dawns. Ignore. Echoes of what if haunt forever. Act now, billions beckon. Turn. Transform. Triumph. Beloved, the door is yours. The releaser whispers, enter.